Suzy to Kim Yoo-jung. K-drama heroines are getting darker. What if the most captivating heroine on your screen right now is someone the old K-drama world would have labeled a villain without a second thought? In the last few years, Korean television has quietly detonated its own rulebook, and the explosion has gifted us female leads who are broken, brilliant, furious, and utterly unforgettable. The days when a heroine had to be gentle, long-suffering, and saved by destiny are collapsing faster than a Chaebol empire in the final episode. Audiences have grown hungry for women who look like the storm, instead of the ones waiting for it to pass. These new protagonists arrive carrying invisible scars the size of Seoul, and instead of hiding them under flawless skin and perfect manners, writers now let those scars bleed on screen. The result feels less like escapism and more like confrontation, as if the drama is holding up a mirror and daring us to look at the parts of ourselves we usually keep locked away. Go Moon-young in It's Okay to Not Be Okay didn't just walk into the frame. She tore the door off its hinges. A children's book writer who writes fairy tales soaked in gothic cruelty, she stares at people like she's deciding whether they're worth the oxygen they're wasting. Her antisocial personality disorder isn't a plot device tacked on for shock value. It's the inevitable aftermath of a childhood spent being emotionally dismantled by the person who was supposed to protect her. Watching her slowly, reluctantly learn that love doesn't always have to hurt is one of the most aching, healing journeys Korean television has ever filmed. There's a scene where she stands in the rain, wearing a blood-red dress, laughing like a madwoman, and you realize you're not sure whether you want to hug her or run from her. That uncertainty is the entire point. Then there's Moon Dong-un in The Glory, a woman so consumed by the need for revenge that she turns her own life into a chessboard where every piece is positioned years in advance. Song Hye-kyo, once the eternal candy girl of 2000's Hallyu, transforms into a quiet monster whose whispers cut deeper than screams. The way she says, "I was happy every day planning this," while smiling like an angel, is the single most chilling moment in recent memory. What makes Dong-un revolutionary isn't the brutality of her revenge, it's that she never asks for forgiveness, and the audience never wants to give it to her anyway. We just want her to win. Choi Isa from Itaewon Class took the label sociopath and wore it like couture. 19 years old, terrifyingly competent, and allergic to anything that smells like weakness, she decides Park Se-ro-yi is her person, and then proceeds to burn the world down in the most efficient way possible to get him justice. She lies, manipulates stock prices, and ruins lives without blinking. Yet when she looks at him with that half-smirk, half-plea expression, millions of viewers decided they would follow her into moral darkness without hesitation. There is something intoxicating about watching a young woman refuse to shrink herself for anyone, ever. Even lighter shows are dipping into the same waters. In My Demon, Do Do-hee is a Chaebol heiress who greets attempted murder with a bored yawn and treats the devil himself like a mildly annoying intern. When she smiles, it never quite reaches her eyes, because those eyes have seen too much betrayal to trust easily. Business Proposal gave us Shin Ha-ri, who can fake an entire personality for survival, but drops the mask the second someone truly sees her. And in the currently airing Dear Ex, Kim Yoo-jung plays Baek Ah-jin, a character who looks like the nation's ideal daughter-in-law on the outside, while quietly orchestrating chaos with the calm precision of a conductor. The duality is delicious. This trend goes far beyond individual characters. It's a complete rewiring of what strong female lead even means. Strength is no longer measured by how much pain a woman can endure while staying sweet. It's measured by how spectacularly she refuses to endure it anymore. These women weaponize their damage instead of letting it define them as victims. They lie, cheat, manipulate, and sometimes cross lines that can never be uncrossed. All because the world taught them early that playing nice gets you destroyed. And somehow, watching them refuse to play nice feels like the most honest love story Korean television has told in years. The acting demands are brutal. To play cold and hollow one moment and then let raw vulnerability crack through the mask the next requires surgical control. A single tremor in the wrong place can shatter the illusion. So Ye-ji's empty, dolphin-like stare in It's Okay to Not Be Okay, Kim Hee-ah's micro-expressions of buried rage in The World of the Married, Song Hye-kyo's unnaturally still posture in The Glory. These are masterclasses happening in real time. When Han So-hee in My Name beats a man half to death and then collapses into silent tears the second she's alone, you don't just see an undercover cop. You see every person who ever smiled while planning to never forgive. What's fascinating is how global audiences have embraced these anti-heroines without reservation. From Latin America to the Middle East to Europe, viewers who grew up on very different cultural expectations of womanhood find themselves rooting for women who would have been condemned as villains a decade ago. There is something universal about the moment when a woman decides that being good has cost her too much. When Moon Dong-eun finally corners her tormentor and whispers the exact words that will destroy her, comment sections across continents explode with the same two words: satisfying and queen. Even the industry itself has stopped pretending this is temporary. At award shows, the daesang no longer automatically goes to the purest heroine. It goes to the actress who most convincingly dragged the audience into moral gray zones. Directors now openly say they cast certain actresses because they can carry darkness. Scriptwriters admit they start with the trauma first and build the love story second. The revenge saga, once a male-dominated genre, now belongs to women so thoroughly that male-led revenge dramas feel almost quaint. This evolution didn't happen in a vacuum. Korea is a pressure cooker society. Hyper-competitive education, astronomical youth unemployment, rigid beauty standards, suffocating family expectations, and a mental health crisis that's been ignored for decades. When teenage girls are literally dying from the weight of it all, the fantasy of a gentle girl being saved by a rich man starts to feel not just outdated, but insulting. The new fantasy is a woman who saves herself, even if she has to become the monster to do it. And maybe that's why these twisted, damaged, glorious women feel so alive. Because they're not role models. They're warnings and promises at the same time. Warnings of what happens when a society keeps telling half its population to swallow pain and smile. Promises that one day someone will refuse, and when she does, the world will finally have to look at what it created. So the next time you find yourself holding your breath while a heroine plots murder in perfect silence, or cheering when she burns every bridge without looking back, remember, you're not watching a trend. You're watching Korean drama finally grow up. And it grew teeth. Beautiful, sharp, unapologetic teeth. And the best part? It has no intention of smiling politely ever again.